I think sobriety forces or allows you to just feel your feelings. I think feeling your feelings is just like really important. In terms of your relationships, having meaningful relationships, and just being able to be with discomfort is important in life in order to feel fulfilled and content. I think that addictions are related to that inability to just sit with discomfort, just being with difficult feelings, difficult emotions.
Anger.
Sadness.
Loneliness.
Confusion.
Numbness.
All those things are moving through them is the way you can feel more at peace.
What comes to mind for sobriety?
Well, it's not that straightforward.
I'm sure sobriety is a struggle in itself.
For me, like I'm essentially sober because I drink honestly like never.
Well, I don't like drinking. At a certain point, I just started to recognize that it didn't make me ever feel good.
I think I always felt the need to explain why I'm not drinking alcohol in a way. And that's odd that you should have to explain why you're not drinking.
What comes to mind for sobriety?
Well, I'm sure sobriety is a struggle in itself.
I just had so many friends die back then. I thought I knew the lines not to cross.
Living on the street, I just would have died out there. So I guess it is a question of living or dying.
I think when you go out and you get blackout drunk, I can't remember certain things in the morning.
Like, I can't believe that all these years I had that bullshit going on. It was more like that sucked up so much energy.
So I had a lot of wake-up calls throughout my lifetime around overindulging and driving and being with my kids and all these horrible things. You'd look back and think, what was I thinking? I took so many risks.
My second daughter was being born, and I was out scoring some drugs. So the power of the addiction just overwhelms any kind of relationship. It trumps everything else.
I would laugh. My favorite place to drink was in the shower. I don't think that's healthy when your favorite place to drink is alone, you know?
I was a functional alcoholic. I didn't miss work because of drink or anything, but I was up to 12 beer, a few shots of tequila, and a bottle of wine every day. And it was not only expensive, but it was bad for, everything.
I think that tells you that there are some issues in your life that are causing some friction. And it just told me that I need to address some of my personal mental issues.
One of the privileges of being a doctor is that kind of forced intimacy so quickly. And when you can make a connection with people and understand them better, you're much more likely to actually have a positive impact in their life.
But that day, as soon as they said, we're going to keep you in for further testing, I made up my mind. Now's the time for me to quit. And I did. So I just quit, gently like that.
It's one of the joys of being a doctor is going in and being really nosy and asking people questions and getting to know them really well very quickly.
So I was in the hospital for 4 or 5 days, doing tests, and more tests. Then they found that I had a precancerous polyp and that I'd have to have some of my intestine removed.
And if they have to make a health change, I really appreciate that connection that I can make with people. And sometimes that would be easier, actually, with people who had previously had a problem with alcohol and were sober.
One of the tests was an ultrasound, and the technician told me my liver was fatty and about twice the size of a normal liver.
What comes to mind for sobriety?
I remember having a dream. I had a lot of dreams, but this one particular dream, I was running.
The world was devastated all around me.
And I was running. Everything was burning and falling down, and I was running toward that. And then I looked behind me.
And it was worse.
And behind me was the addiction. But what I was running towards was also frightening.
The idea of surrendering, losing control was frightening.
And I had to keep going because it was even worse back there. So I think that was sort of a dream to sort of symbolize how I felt at the time. I know that if I hadn't gone on this path, I'd be dead for sure. Yeah, I know that now. But at that time, it probably wasn't quite as clear to me. But maybe it was, unconsciously, somewhere. But I had no choice. I couldn't go on the way I was.
I've been sober for a little over a year now.
I'm fairly new to recovery. I started my journey back in July 2022.
I made the choice to stop drinking as of November 1st, 2022.
There's fear, because I'm afraid of what I'm going to lose. I'm afraid of where I'm going, you know. I'm afraid because I don't really understand what's happening, why I'm behaving the way I am.
There's shame that I've gone so far down the path of being an irresponsible and bad husband and father, and I've hurt people along the way a lot.
And if I go deeper than that,
it's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
It's almost like a miracle, because I don't really know why. At that moment, my thinking changed. I mean, I've been in that place for a long time up to that point, so why, right then, did it change?
All I know is that once I made the decision, all kinds of things would happen, would fall into place.
It's a decision every day, every minute.
Like, I don't have to worry about hiding stuff. Or am I drinking too much? You know, oh, can I have another drink?
I don't want to use any kind of like, I don't know, willpower's not the...
Like, I don't have to worry about, am I going to get caught while I'm drinking a beer? You know, driving to Wakefield from the city.
I know I got to do it for me, ultimately, or it won't work. But what drives me at the moment, and the beginning, I guess, is making people proud.
Like, I don't have to worry about, you know, watching out, making sure there's no cops around, or making sure I don't have a fender bender, and somebody says, oh, fucker's been drinking.
Maybe showing I can do it, trying to get some credibility back. When you're not sober, it didn't matter if you're right or wrong, you're drunk. Get no credibility. That's frustrating.
I don't have any of that. I don't have to hide it from my partner.
What comes to mind for sobriety? I've been sober for a little over a year now, and it's the first time since I started drinking as a teenager that I've done this for any length of time. I know myself well enough to know that this is the real thing, that I won't go back to drinking and alcohol.
This may be a trend towards a more sober, curious culture kind of thing. I think drinking is the new smoking, maybe.
Number one is for my health, my physical health, but my mental health as well. Right away, when I was off the alcohol for a week or two, I immediately started sleeping better. And of course, I didn't have that dragged out feeling when I woke up in the morning.
And I think it would be really good because I think that there's a lot of negative, not just health issues with drinking, but social issues, right? Like with rape and crime. That alone is enough of a reason to really view it with a lot of suspicion and concern.
But more than the mental health is because I was just in this lifelong pattern of drinking, of partying, of having a drink as being the norm for any kind of get-together with anyone. But I didn't need to have other people to drink. I would do it alone, too. And it was a norm for me.
What comes to mind for sobriety?
It's not that straightforward.
I'm sure sobriety is a struggle in itself.
I think the first thing is that struggles are something that I can learn. I can learn from struggle. So I guess I feel more secure or more confident. Secure is a better word because it's not a question of being confident. I can deal with this kind of thing. It's more like a serenity that's just there. Yeah, a serenity. I guess that's the main feeling, knowing that everything will always be okay.